Every hit, catch, and touchdown. The Elks home opener kicks off June 20th against Montreal. Your season seats are your way in. Get yours now at goelks.com/season seats. Edmonton Elks. Our city, our year.
Question: what do you do with your metal?
Lawn ornaments.
Statues.
I made this hat for Kitty, but it's a little heavy. Sorry, Mr. Fluffles.
At Metal Supermarkets, they encourage you to submit your creations to the Metal My Way Gallery today. You can win some great prizes. Go to metalmyway.com, a celebration of metal mastery. Proudly sponsored by Metal Supermarkets, the local convenience stores for Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
Fuel prices got you down? Subaru's here to pick you up. Subaru's electric and hybrid vehicles will save the day, helping you go further for less. Prefer a gas vehicle? Subaru Crosstrek and Impreza are built to keep costs low without sacrificing capability. Crosstrek was named 2025 Auto Trader Best Subcompact SUV, and Impreza has earned top safety pick recognition for 17 years running. Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru. Visit Subaru.ca.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Welcome to the Lowdown. Today's show, Bouchard concussed. Bruce Cassidy just wants to coach, man. Plus, Carolina rocking the Habs like a hurricane. CFL gets a big television deal. I have no idea how to get the channel. And the CFL plays at Clark Stadium Friday night. Makes me want to get out my CCR's Greatest Hits 8 tracks and reminisce a little. The Lowdown is brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Huge May savings on new 2026 Sierra 1500 pickups and all remaining 2025 Terrain SUVs. Check it out, wolfgmcbuick.com. We, of course, are live on YouTube and Sports 1440 AM radio. Our headliner of the day, bag milk from Oilers Nation, Lou Korak, who covers the St. Louis Blues for NHL.com as well. We are at sports1440.ca, iHeartRadio, and Radio Player Canada. After the show, we're on Apple and Spotify podcast, Twitter at Lowetide, at Declan Krueger, and at Donovan Paulson. And Jay Fenwick 04. I keep forgetting it. Declan is on holidays in Italy, and he'll be back in 9 days or less, or maybe he never comes back. There may be a filming of Love Island that we don't know about in Italy, and maybe he just goes there and spends the rest of his life on television. We're never sure with the guy. Lots to talk about in baseball, in hockey, obviously, and a few things in football as well. You can text or call us at 833-401-1440. That's 833-401-1440. It's time for the introductions. He has never had a concussion, but does get whiplash often with ever-changing takes on the New York Knicks. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Josh Fenwick. Josh Fenwick, everybody.
Okay. I still think they're going to lose.
But you were like they had no chance to make it to the final, and now they made it to the final.
Yeah, I might have been a little headstrong on that. That's you know what? That's my bad.
Well, at least you admit it.
I did predict a sweep in the conference finals, however.
Maybe one day we'll revisit the Brad Pitt movie thing and you can...
Nope, not wrong about that one.
The answer to the question, why do personal items go missing in old folks' home, is Donovan Paulson, everybody. Donovan Paulson.
This is true. There is, if you are falling victim to a string of missing personal items in your old folks' home, you know where to blame. You know who to blame, excuse me. That is me. I steal everything from your television to that pesky little TV remote that you have no idea how it works.
Plates, saucers, whatever it takes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll take anything.
A general menace is what I call you. When people say, what's Donovan like? I go, he's a menace.
That's the best compliment you could ever give me.
There you go. But you get along well with everybody on the text line, so people already know who you are. Okay. So I want to talk about the Evan Bouchard hit. It was obviously a predatory hit. There's going to be, the player hit him, is kicked out of the game. But this is a player who was, most of us think, had some concussion issues during the playoffs. So we can question why he was over there. But now, when you have 2 concussions like that in a row, it calls into question health over the long term. And I know the first reaction is, well, he's got all summer. Having said that, these things are really serious. So when you get 2 in a row like this, I think the Edmonton Oilers really have to take care. It's a wildly valuable player. I would suggest their 3rd best player on the roster, and like one guy who can move the puck up to the superstars and have them do good things. So it is obviously it was a hard fought game, and that's a play you can't make. But there's no penalty beyond that matters to the Oilers. That makes up for the injury to Evan Bouchard. And I wonder, everybody was really eager to get them over there, and I understand they want to play. But these cats have played so much hockey, and now this, it would be nice to get to training camp next year and have everybody healthy. I don't know that they'll have that, because sometimes it's the captain's skate where people get hurt. But the Edmonton Oilers have had, in some ways, very good injury fortune on defense. This one could impact, and maybe it won't, but it is a concern, I think, heading into summer. Do you agree, gentlemen, or do you disagree?
I'd agree. I mean, the reality of it is we heard about the concussion, or we thought we saw a little bit of the concussion action during the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now this is what we presume to be 2 concussions in
a month.
Right. That's not ideal. If you look at players who've had concussion issues in the past, it's usually a couple concussions in a relatively short amount of time, and then they start to find a way into your game a lot more. And this one, he gets knocked out cold, right?
He was off balance, and he absolutely got clocked.
For those of you who didn't see the hit, I would assume most of you have at this point, but for those of you who didn't, he gets knocked out cold. He is lying on the ice. It is, I can't believe some people are trying to say it's a clean hit, because it's frankly not even close.
No.
It is pure head. He gets his head picked. And yeah, like I'd be concerned about concussion issues, maybe not to the point of like a Philip Hedl in Vancouver, but you've got to question it now.
Yeah. And this is, I mean, we'll find out in the fall, right? Like the same things that always get said will be said. He'll be fine by fall, but you don't know, right? And what if he gets concussed early in the regular season or in the preseason? This is a bad day, I'll say, for the Edmonton Oilers roster. Now, maybe he plays. He's been a healthy guy, and he is pretty good at avoiding, those monstrous hits when guys come in and try to slam them. He can slide out of the way quickly. He does it quite well. This one he was off balance. He got it really hurt. Josh, your opinion on the hit and what it may mean to this Edmonton Oilers roster moving forward.
I can't imagine it means anything good for the Edmonton Oilers coming up here, but he does a good job of protecting his head. Not a clean hit at all. Even like Lindgren's off his skates by the end of the hit, even like he's up in the air. And it doesn't help that Bush was sort of pushed into it as well. There's a little bit of a back check in the open ice to really like put him right into the elbow of Lindgren. He pinwheeled on the ice. Like that's the worst part is that he 110% was unconscious.
Yeah.
Fully. And he hit his head on the ice because he was unconscious
when he
went down.
Scenario.
And like it was awful. Like that's a really bad hit. You don't want to see that on anybody. So I can't imagine this spells anything good for the Edmonton Oilers. I can't imagine it spells anything good for Evan Bouchard's offseason. Especially if this is a big concussion, those take a long time to come back from.
More than just a cloud for the summer.
Yeah, more than just a couple weeks, even more than a couple months. Like this could be a thing that really affects him for a long time. So you never really want to see that.
Some sad news: Claude Lemieux, absolutely famous hockey player for lots of reasons, passed away at a very young age, at 60. He was born in Buckingham, Quebec. And there's all kinds of reaction online, as one might expect. He was a rugged, furious player, played above his ability in almost every season he was in the National Hockey League. And you're going to hear a lot of, outpouring and reaction in the hours and days to come because that's very young. I'm older than 60. So this is a very young person who is an athlete. And we always mourn the loss of every human, but that is a tough loss for the NHL community and hockey in general, and obviously for the Lemieux family. So we want to let you know that Claude Lemieux has passed away at the age of 60. The other thing I want to talk about a little bit in terms of hockey is Bruce Cassidy. And because the story is always developing. So this story has legs because you find out the two teams are requested. Now Vegas is saying no. Then Vegas says, well, he knows and he understands. Obviously, the comments today from Cassidy are, he may understand, but he doesn't like it. There's a difference between understanding and reacting well to it. He says, I'm a hockey coach. I want to coach. And there's a frustration there. So Vegas, according to everything we read, and it was covered very well by Pierre LeBrun of The Athletic, the NHL views Vegas with being within their rights to do this. But at this point, I think it's fair to say at what cost. When National Hockey League teams reach out for permission, that may get altered for all time. And that would impact coaches in a very bad way. If the new rule is no, then coaches everywhere in the National Hockey League and trying to get into the National Hockey League are, I think, pretty much forced into one-year contracts. You play for the year and you don't have anything beyond that. I think this is a real big, and the NHL is slow to react to anything, just so you know. They just don't until it becomes catastrophic. They just let it go. And then, oh my God, this horrible thing is happening. And so I don't believe the NHL will get in front of this. I think the worst that you could expect is the Edmonton Oilers having to send a third-round pick to the Calgary Flames because of this summer. But at some point in time, the NHL is going to have to step in and have some real ground rules on this because Cassidy is a fired coach. He's still got a contract, but he's been fired. And everybody up until this point, the year of our Lord 2026, understands that you ask for permission, you get it, you interview the guy, and you hire him or you don't. And now that has changed. And now we're seeing a little bit of the outrage from the coaching side. They already gave the statement. The NHL coaches gave a statement. And now Cassidy has spoken. I don't think this story is over. I think it has legs. Do you agree, Donovan?
Yeah, if you saw his Spit and Chicklets interviews or just even clips of the Spit and Chicklets interview, yes, like the story definitely has legs, and you can tell that Bruce Cassidy is doing this whole media tour as a result of this, and he wants this to go away. He wants Vegas he wants to coach next year, right? He wants them to say, you know what, sure, interview, whatever. This is going to be a precedent setter in my mind in the way that coaching contracts are handled now, because if you listen to the interview, and this is what we've spoken to for multiple weeks right across the station, the team's ultimately the one that holds the control in terms of, like, Bruce Cassidy, for all of you who are just saying, oh, why doesn't he just, revoke his contract? Why doesn't he just say, you know what, I'll ease out of, I'll back out of the final year of my deal so I can coach somewhere else. That's not how it works. If you saw the clip, Vegas still controls his rights. He would just literally lose $4.5 million.
Right.
That's all he would do. But he would still be under contract. Well, not under contract, but the team could still rescind. If he chose to go somewhere, the team would rescind it. That's how it would work. So it's a bit of a pain in the ass for him, but this is going to change the way that coaches negotiate their contracts, I would assume.
Oh, in a heartbeat. What about you, Josh? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I don't really know how much more I can add on to Donovan's. I think this is.
We always put you in a bad spot.
No, hey, hey, that's fair.
But I do it because I want to.
Yeah, I understand it. I'm low man on the totem pole in this here studio. Last one in is the last one to say anything. We're seeing in sports a lot more now, the player empowerment movement. I think this shines more of a light on, the coach's empowerment and everything, because like when a player gets bought out, it's because he's a bum. And so he can go and play for whoever he wants. Like there's no anything for a franchise to be like, well, we're the Buffalo Sabres and we bought out Jeff Skinner. So, he's not going to play anywhere else until this buyout's complete or anything like that. Right. So yeah, like the ownership of a person is weird. And I know that's a thing in regular life with like non-compete clauses and everything like that. Yeah. But this is like a special circumstance because it's sports. And so I agree. This is a precedent setter in how agents and lawyers will be dealing with front offices. I don't think it's going to be 1-year deals. I think it's going to be more, this is the wording we want specifically in this contract.
And I just want to add, just because I think it is important, there is a hockey industry, and every NHL team and every NHL owner has to be sensitive to their reputation in the hockey industry. So Vegas Golden Knights, as every day ticks by, they run the risk of being on an island alone. And how does that impact? There's all kinds of ways that it can impact. And I think that pressure, sorry for using that twice in a row, that pressure will be the pressure that ends this, and I think relatively soon. Because if Vegas Golden Knights act this way and they're, alone and everybody else continues to do business, you may see Vegas in the future make a request and they're denied and everybody else goes about their business. You don't want to be an island. It's a 32-team league. It's like a club, It's like the smoking golf clubs that both of these gentlemen, even though they're very young, they're involved in. You're part of a golf club, aren't you?
Nope.
You told me you golfed you have a home golf place.
Well, I mean, like I played a lot of golf at Broadmoor in my life, and I did have a membership there at one point.
Right.
But
so the drill. You get the smoking jacket, and they bring you soup.
I was a junior when I had that membership, so they don't do that.
Well, all right. Then that's what you
Not
get
since
when
the
you're
60s or anything, anyways. I'm sure.
Okay. All right. There you go. Carolina, they announced their presence with authority against the Montreal Canadiens last night. And I think this series is over. My question is, and I'll start with you this time, Josh, do you agree the series is over? And do you have a favorite should Vegas play Carolina?
Yeah, I would say Game 5 is strictly a formality at this point. The Carolina looks like an absolute wagon. Their shot suppression is absolutely unreal. And going into the finals, I would say, I would take Carolina all the live long day.
And what do you think?
Yeah, it's done. I don't know. It might go to Game 6 here. I don't know. Like you never know, right? Things can happen, but usually when you get to this point in the series and you're 3-1, it's pretty much curtains. It's just a matter of, will this be dragged out an extra game? What's going to happen? I wouldn't be surprised to see it get dragged out an extra game. Usually, most teams when you go down and you're going to have some fight when you go down 3-1, when you go down 3-0. Like usually there's a pushback. So I wouldn't be shocked to see Game 6, but I would also say this is over. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. And it's too bad because I mean, Montreal, I think, got everything out of their roster they could this year. And, Dobish is such a great story. But as soon as this year ends, he's potentially number 3 on the depth chart. I don't know if that's true, but they have so much depth there that his road to a starting job in the fall is not guaranteed.
Well, I think it's guaranteed.
I don't know.
This playoffs, that's guaranteed.
You're going to start him over the other 2 guys.
Well, Jacob Fowler's in the mix, yeah. And Montembeault. Montembeault is kicked to the curb. He's gone.
I think starting goaltender for the Montreal Canadiens is up in the air, and he does not. It is potentially he would start the next year as a backup. That's my opinion. All right, lots to talk about. We didn't get to everything in this segment, but that's okay. We're going to talk about the Elks playing Friday. I can't say it enough. The ticket prices are so low. Get out there and watch at a great venue, a great opportunity to watch CFL football. Back when we played and watched in the 70s, that's the kind of atmosphere that you would have. And we'll talk about the NBA, the Jays, and I have a baseball set of stats for these two cats that is going to, I don't know if it'll blow their mind. They might know about it, but it might blow your mind if you're a fan of baseball. There's something going on right now in the National League that is like 1968-ish for pitchers. So that's all on the way. We have rumors. We have two great guests, Bag Milk from Oilers Nation, and Lou Korak, who covers the St. Louis Blues for NHL.com, all straight ahead. What's coming up on Donovan Nations?
TBD.
Okay, perfect.
Joy.
Lowdown with Lowetide. That means Josh is working. Lowdown with Lowetide brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Are new McCafe crafted sodas just drinks or something more? Like Sprite Berry Bliss, Creamy Strawberry Coke, and Orange Dream. All swirled with fizzy flavor and topped with silky cold foam. Only at McDonald's. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
You don't just need property services, you need problems handled. HireGood provides cleanup, debris removal, site monitoring, and safety attendance across Edmonton. We reduce issues on your property, keep spaces safe, and take pressure off your team. We resolve real problems for businesses while creating real impact because our team is built on second chances and they show up every day ready to prove it. Visit hiregood.ca or call and mention Jason Krueger for a first-time discount. HireGood. Stable jobs create stable lives.
The Edmonton Riverhawks return Friday. Join the best party in the River Valley with 27 theme nights like Paws in the Park, Star Wars, and Margaritaville. Don't miss opening weekend. Tickets start at $21 at tickets@gohawks.ca.
Hot coffee, hotter takes, and the sports stories that matter. Check out Kevin Carrions weekday mornings from 7 to 11 on Edmonton's sports leader, Sports 1440. Be part of the conversation. 833-401-1440.
Whether you're refinancing or buying your first home, mortgages are easier with help from a neighbor. At Vision Credit Union, you get face-to-face guidance from local lenders who know the market because, well, they live here too. They'll look at your whole financial picture with practical advice for payments, renewals, refinancing, and what makes sense long-term. Get a more neighborly mortgage. Contact your branch today or visit visioncu.ca.
Everybody loves a beautiful day in Edmonton. Hey, it's Jamie, and Green Drop Lawn Care is giving you one more reason to love the nice weather. Next Nice Day service. People always ask, how soon can Green Drop get here? Well, when you sign up with Next Nice Day service, we'll be there by tomorrow. Assuming Mother Nature cooperates, we'll be fertilizing and treating your weeds by the very next day. We'll even include drought fighter at no additional cost. Just another reason we have been Canada's lawn expert since 1979. Easy online signups only at greendrop.com.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit sports encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Huge May savings on right now, WolfGMCBuick.com. Well, that song takes me back. 40 years ago, I would have been playing that song on a top 40 radio station about 3 miles from here. So I guess I didn't get far. I just stayed in the neighborhood, as it were. But it's a great song, and thank you for playing that, Donovan. Do you like that song, or did you just pick it out of a hat?
No, I do like that song, and it's kind of a summery vibe.
Yeah.
And that's kind of going to be the theme today is, for me, is cheery, summery type of music. So
well, since we're getting summer now, you know.
Yes, finally.
Did you hear about the Saturday, Sunday storms around here? They're going to be like 7 monsoon winds and rain.
Maybe it's the fact that I am a man, and for whatever reason, I have this natural inclination to standing on my front step and watching storms.
Yeah, that's great.
But
I love
I
that.
am so amped up. I love a good thunderstorm. Did you say Saturday and Sunday?
The Saturday, and I think it's going to be like Josh Klassen had it on his Twitter.
I should follow him on Twitter, actually.
I used to live in Regina out on First Avenue North, I think it was, in a fourplex, and you could see the black sky coming, right? Sunny, beautiful day. And I'd go, oh my God. I'd quickly make supper, which is usually barbecue, and I have a couple of beers. And I'd sit on the balcony, which was somewhat sheltered, but I could see everything. And I would just wait for it. It was so awesome. I love storms.
Oh, thunderstorms are the best.
Yeah, they are.
Now I'm feeling a little bad for my lady who wants to go out on Saturday night.
Well, but you could get it done.
And is scared of thunder as well.
Oh, okay.
So, all the other people in my life, all of whom are women that are scared of thunder. I went golfing one time with a very dear friend of mine, and we're driving in the golf cart, and we got rained out. And she was like, Josh, just so you know, if it starts thundering, I might throw up.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, cool. Just don't do it on me, please.
It's wild. But you can go out early. Like, old people like me go for dinner on Saturday at like 4:00.
She does like to say that she's old. However,
there you go.
We're still 22. Our night doesn't start until about 10 p.m.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. It's time for Rumors, brought to you by Harley-Davidson of Edmonton. It's riding season, and Harley-Davidson of Edmonton has your next bike waiting. Huge selection of new and pre-owned, plus test rides available. Locally owned and operated since 1980 on the Yellowhead Trail or at hdedmonton.com. All right, we talked about Evan Bouchard concussed today. It was a violent hit. He hit his head. He was out cold long before he hit the ice. It's bad, and we don't know anything else about it. Just the video itself. You hope and pray that he's okay. Clearly, he's got the best medical attention available, and we'll wait and see. But from a hockey point of view and a health point of view, that's the last thing you want to see anybody endure. And obviously, Evan Bouchard is central to this hockey club's, the Edmonton Oilers, future. So that is a big piece of news that we pass along. Also in the news, the Vegas Golden Knights continue to refuse several NHL teams the opportunity to interview Bruce Cassidy. We know that. What is different today is Cassidy did an interview with Spittin' Chicklets podcast, and he was very frank about wanting to coach and his frustration level. And maybe I'm wrong, but I think we can agree that if anything is going to put pressure on Vegas Golden Knights, it might be an industry that has a long memory and understands that there's sort of a gentleman's agreement that when you fire somebody, a coach, you probably give them an opportunity to move on. That is not currently the situation, and I suspect there will be some ramifications if it continues. Obviously, no harm's done yet, but as time goes on, chances are this will become a bigger issue, not a smaller one. And contributing to that is what Cassidy said today. Claude Lemieux passes away at the age of 80, a shocking item for a 4-time Cup winner. We have no report of why. We just are getting reviews of his long and storied career, one that was, there was a lot of physicality in his career, but he was also an outstanding player for a long, long time and had a great year. A great career. The San Jose Sharks have they've embraced Sin. They've hired a guy named Philip Sin to an entry-level contract. They need help on defense. Everybody does, and that's a player you may or may not hear about, but he is now signed by San Jose Sharks. NBA, can you give us an update on what's about to happen in the National Basketball Association?
I thought you were about to say National League for a second, but so tonight, Game 6 underway in San Antonio between the Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Thunder up 3-2, have a chance to close out the series. Out in San Antonio, I'm still very high on the Spurs. Wemby went 4-15 from the field last game. Did not have a really great showing. They're really working him down in the paint. That being said, Victor Wembanyama legacy game tonight, in my opinion. And we're going 7 in Oklahoma City, where it's an absolute coin flip after the fact.
What's this about a snake draft in the NBA? Have you heard about that? Where this is one of the things they're trying to do with the lottery is if you win the lottery, then you're snaked back in the second round.
So you get the first pick and the last pick?
Yeah, first pick of the first round, last pick of the second round. I know they're doing the same thing the NHL did.
It doesn't matter. So the NBA draft, listen, it's a real toss up. There's no such thing as a sure thing outside of, I would say, the top 3 in the NBA most years.
Right.
Most years. And by the time you get to about pick 25, you're picking the guy who's probably going to be like the 9th man on a rotation for a while.
Right.
And then maybe will be a starter later on. Now, there are exceptions to that rule. Kyle Kuzma, Pascal Siakam, who is an all-star, all-NBA player now, and like second-round picks. Jalen Brunson was a second-round pick. He was picked 33. But on the whole, like once you get to the second round, you're not really drafting impact players. Again, there are exceptions. Nikola Jokic was drafted during a Taco Bell commercial in the second round. Like, this is where we're at. But it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Just find a way to find the team to stop the teams from tanking. That's fully what it is.
All right. Both of you guys love baseball, so I'm going to throw some baseball numbers at you right now. This is in the National League during the month of May, and I want to find it. So Christopher Sanchez had 0 earned runs in 39 innings. His K to W walk rate was 45.6, and that's all world. You're going to win every award available, but, and I think he will, but Jacob Misiorowski in May is 4-1, 31 innings, 49 strikeouts, 6 walks, and he has 1 more game to go. The National League specifically, but both leagues at the top end, Chris Sale, others, this is such an amazing year for the there's a lot of bad pitchers, don't get me wrong, but it reminds me a little bit of 1968 when Bob Gibson had the 1.12 ERA and everybody was throwing smoke that year. They lowered the mound. Right now, the top end of baseball, especially in the National League pitchers, are just like almost like historic. The Sanchez broke a record from Grover Cleveland Alexander or something like that.
Yeah, he did. That was his consecutive scoreless inning streak. It was 41,
man,
which is insanity. Like that's some fantastic pitching. And I thought he was my guy last year who I thought, you know what, sneaky, I might have gave him the Cy Young. But Chris Sanchez, it's crazy. If you look at his career, early in his career, now he never made it to the majors with the Rays, but this is a guy who couldn't find the strike zone to save his life. He was all over the place as a minor leaguer, and he went to Philly and just kind of found it randomly one year. And now you have to look at Christopher Sanchez as one of the best pitchers in baseball. Do I think he would be my guy over Misiorowski right now? Yes, purely because of the inning volume.
Yeah.
If you look at the inning volume, Misiorowski's only at 64. Christopher Sanchez is at 79 1/3.
Now, Misiorowski pitches on Sunday, so the gap will close, and that's...
Gap will close, but still, like, the innings pitched is massive, right? But then you look at the strikeouts, and in that big of a gap, Misiorowski has 5 more strikeouts.
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
It's a bit of a toss-up. Like, everything is fluid and could change with the snap of a finger. But, yeah, like, we're in a pitching age where some of these guys are so incredibly dominant. And, like, I don't know if you've checked out Paul Skeens' season. It's actually hilarious because Paul Skeens has
2 starts that are terrible and the rest are brilliant.
I'm going to say Paul Skeens has sucked this season.
Well,
he has a 1.99 ERA.
No, he has a 3 ERA.
Oh,
it's raised his ERA in his career to 2.13. His ERA prior to this season was 1.97.
And there's a caveat.
About to drop his ass.
Yeah, what a bum.
There's a caveat to this. The first game he pitched, his center fielder was out to get him.
Oh,
and there were like 5 earned runs that were basically unearned that were on his record.
His ERA that game was like 62 or something like that. It was brutal. He pitched a third of an inning.
Yeah, and now it's down to 3.
So I'm going to ask first. I'm going to ask Josh this question. Okay,
boy.
There are 2 great players contemplating retirement right now. So I'm going to give you an update on both of them, and I'm going to ask you which one you think 40 years from now people will remember better. Emily Kaplan is reporting that Alex Ovechkin will decide on his future. The timeline she was given was around the draft, before or shortly. However, the Caps have said if he needs more time, they will absolutely give it to him. So it appears to me that even, approaching training camp, they'll make a room for Alexander Ovechkin. That's one player.
I can't wait to hear who this second player is.
And the other player who says he's starting to think about life after basketball is James Harden. So 40 years from now, which of these two do you think that the public, as we know it, fan base in North America, which will be valued more, the Harden career or the Ovechkin career?
If I think about it from the entirety of North America, it will be James Harden, because basketball is just
massive,
is huge in the States, and it can't really hold a candle to the NHL can't really hold a candle to the NBA's numbers, and particularly in the time era where James Harden played in the prime of LeBron James's career, which has spanned from ages 19 to 41. Like, he's right in the middle of it, took an MVP from him and everything. If I'm looking at it from my point of view, it should be Alexander Ovechkin with a bullet.
Yeah, I think in terms of accomplishment, in terms of breaking an all-time record, winning a Stanley Cup later in his career, which made him, I think, more popular because he spent 2 weeks. I don't know if he remembers the 2 weeks, but he spent 2 weeks with the cup.
Yeah, I mean, he has a ring. Harden doesn't. He broke what was considered to be an absolutely unbreakable record for most goals in NHL history. So there's that. And James Harden won an MVP and averaged 40 for a month, and
Crazy.
As a all-time playoff choker. Like, that's where it is. Alexander Ovechkin was the best player on the best team because they won the Stanley Cup. That makes you the best team.
All right. What are your thoughts on that, young Donovan?
I'll be honest. I pulled a Declan. I wasn't fully listening.
Oh my God.
Because I was looking.
Chair has powers.
I was looking at a text from BC Oiler. Is it just me, or do they need to do something about making things tougher on pitchers? Lack of offense is a little boring.
Well, that 68, they lowered the mound.
I was looking at runs per game by year by year, and this year is virtually the same as the last 2 years. So it's
individual pitchers who are doing this.
It's individual pitchers. So what I would say is the elites of the elites are maybe some of the best pitchers we've ever seen, but the bums are awful. There's a lot of elite pitchers right now, but there's also a lot of terrible pitchers right now. And there's not a ton of middle ground.
Yeah. And also, I think you said something that is important that we should talk about when we have time one day. And that is this, that, if you look at the historians, they'll list the top 50 baseball players of all time, and they're all from the 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s. That's just not true.
No.
Some of the greatest players, I think the greatest player who ever lived, Shohei Ohtani, is playing like he pitched last night and hit.
Yes.
And so I think that if you're making a list and if you're looking at a list of baseball's all-time greats, and they say we're not including Ohtani because he's an active player, that's fine. But if it is including active players, and Ohtani doesn't show up in the top 50, then you need to put the list away because it is nonsense.
Ohtani's already the best player we've ever seen.
I think.
You want to hear a fun Ohtani stat from last night?
Sure.
Okay, so he hit a leadoff home run, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he threw 6+ scoreless innings.
Bomb.
He is the first person to ever do that, same game or otherwise, in the modern era.
Well, but he couldn't do 7? Like, what is he,
He must have...
Come on, he couldn't go complete game shutout?
He
couldn't throw a no-hitter?
Loser.
What a
hey,
loser.
man, talk to Dave Roberts. Don't talk to him. But when he got pulled from the mound, reminder, he threw 7 hitless innings.
Yes.
Hitless, not scoreless, hitless innings. And he came off the mound upset with how he pitched.
Yeah, he's a bum.
Dude,
I
he's
also
an ace who has an absolute nuke for a bat.
Yeah, I know. But I think the major leagues have to step in when he's playing, he's pitching against Colorado and hitting against Colorado. That's just unfair.
It is unfair.
Like, make him pitch against a real team.
Exactly.
It's a rotation.
Don't
baby.
let him play against Colorado.
Right. There should be a rule, man. That we make it fair. Holy.
There should be an Ohtani illegal rule. If you're against one of the bottom 10 teams in baseball, you shouldn't be allowed to play.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's how good he is.
And he should have to bat with one hand.
In the World
He
Series
should have to
last
bat
year,
right-handed.
World Series last year, he gave up back-to-back home runs.
I saw that.
Off the first two batters or whatever it was.
You know what's weird, though, about last year's World Series? It was unjust. There's no way Hoffman can give up that home run, and he did.
I still want to strangle Jeff Hoffman.
But it changes everything because now the Dodgers are a dynasty, and like nobody will remember Game 7 because Hoffman and I'm not trying to pick on him, but he ruined history.
Jeff Hoffman ruined my year. He ruined the entire year for me. That's what he did, personally. I
want you to know I brought it up only because I knew Donovan would react this way.
Sorry, Josh. I have never. I'm never really that angry about sports. Like I can just watch sports because of this job. I just, I watch my sports. I'll sit on the couch. I'll be actually fairly relaxed, unlike some of you would probably think I would be. That was the first time in sports where I sat in silence. I was so angry, and I was like, I've never had that reaction before. Even to the Oilers' losses in the Cup final, I cared about those losses, but that one was a whole new level.
No,
that's the only sports loss to date that had me going, man, like that's like empty feeling inside, drinking at the bar, just being like, oh man, like this was terrible. I went to a party after. I left because I was just so sad about like the outcome. I'm an Angels fan, and I felt sad about that.
Just so you know, when you're 70, you'll go, oh yeah.
Yeah. So
it never leaves you.
And like people in Canada won't forget, but everyone else will, about Bo's 3-run shot.
Yeah. And yes, Savage, my God, he was incredible.
And Gosman came in to pitch relief, and but everyone gives flack to Jeff Hoffman. Shane Bieber's the one that gave up the game-winning run.
Yeah, but you can't really whatever. Like Jeff Hoffman's the one who threw it a slider right down the middle to Miguel freaking Rojas.
Rojas can't hit the ball out. I mean, you just keep throwing him slop until he just, outside corner. He'll never hit that for home run.
Miguel Rojas hadn't hit a home run in like a month.
Since he was 10. All right. On the way, Lou Korak from NHL.com. We're going to talk about St. Louis Blues. What do they want? Like, Oilers fans want to trade them Darnell Nurse and get Kyrou, but does that make any sense for St. Louis? What are they looking for? And what do they have? And what does this summer look like for St. Louis? We'll talk about that with Lou on the way next. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Hear that? That's your entry calling. Go Auto is sending you to the biggest football event in the world, live in Vancouver, with tickets, flights, and a hotel stay for 2. To enter the contest, just text GAME to 780-777-7777. That's GAME to 780 all 7s. Go Auto, get in the game.
Get the Lowdown with Lowetide. Weekdays from noon to 2 on Sports 1440. He's seen it all and then some. From stats to stories, he breaks it down like no one else. Proud to be Edmonton's sports leader. Sports 1440.
Bashaw Concrete Products. From concrete and septic tanks to blocks, precast water pads, Jersey barriers, and aggregates. Farmers, contractors, homeowners. Plan your next project at BashawConcrete.com. Family owned, over 60 years pouring. Bashaw Concrete Products. Once again, start here. BashawConcrete.com.
Up for a ride that truly matters. Join the Princess Auto Ride for Dad Edmonton, where hundreds of motorcycles fire up and roll out together in one unforgettable moment. Enjoy a scenic route, great food, amazing prizes, fundraising awards, and a whole community riding shoulder to shoulder. Collect pledges to support prostate cancer research and awareness in the fight against prostate cancer. Ride strong, ride proud to make a difference on Saturday, June 13th, starting at Blackjack's Roadhouse in Nisku. Register now at ridefordad.ca.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. author, musical connoisseur, sports know-it-all. Yes, a man for all seasons.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440 at 12:44. We're brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Huge savings on right now at wolfgmcbuick.com. Joined by Lou Korak from NHL.com. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
You got it. How are you?
I'm very well. Wanted to ask you, because we've got a lot of Edmonton Oilers fans talking about the St. Louis Blues and dismantling the roster in St. Louis, and I thought it'd be a good idea to talk to somebody who knows the roster, and maybe we'd go, hey, Jordan Kyrou, you may want him, but he's not necessarily as available as you think. The Blues are, I think, building a pretty interesting team there. We know about the offer sheets, and both Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway have played extremely well there. How far along are they, and do you think there are some of the veterans like Kyrou that might be available?
It seems to be the flavor of the month right now, no doubt about it. And it's kind of been that way for, the better part of a year now. And I guess with the season that Kyrou had, which, by Blue standards would be considered underwhelming. You're used to a 30-plus goal scorer here and probably in the 65, 70, 75-ish point range, which is about what you would expect from a player of that caliber. But, and then came at the end of the year where, none of us were really aware of, but he did have a minor knee procedure, which, you have to think whether that affected his play at all throughout the season or not. We won't know until we see Kyrou again. But, it's an interesting topic, and if you ask me, or if you ask any of the other media hypes around North America, Jordan Kyrou is 100% available. But listen, Doug Armstrong has made it clear that he has never been one that has willingly and openly put Jordan Kyrou on the market. Now, has he listened to offers for Jordan Kyrou? Certainly. He's done that for Robert Thomas. He's done that for a number of his players, and especially when they underwhelmed before they went on another run again and just missed out on the playoffs. He made it known that nobody is safe right now, and they're going to be listening to see what kind of offers they could fetch. And if you're going to try to pry a Jordan Kyrou out of St. Louis, well, you have to deal with a couple of things. One, the Blues are not going to let him go for nothing, and two, he's got a no trade clause. So he's got a full no trade clause. So whether he wants to go to a destination or not is going to be totally up to him. They've already been rebuffed in the last couple of years twice by that, once by Colton Parayko and once by Torrey Krug back in 2013. So guys that typically tend to come to St. Louis like staying here. Now, Jordan Kyrou might be of a different ilk because maybe he's looking for a new start, a fresh start. That is certainly a possibility. But when we talked to him at the end of the year, he sounded like a guy that wanted to stay in St. Louis and wants to make himself a better player. So depending on who you ask, that seems to be the biggest question going on right now. But if, say, a team like Edmonton were to come after a Jordan Kyrou, it certainly isn't going to come cheap. I can definitely tell you that.
And that brings me to my next question, because it's uncertain to me. I look at the Blues roster, and there's a ton of players I like on this team. I saw Neighbors play here in junior hockey for a long time. I've always liked him. There's a pile of them. So I'm uncertain what everybody wants defense and everybody wants toughness, but is there a shopping list for St. Louis that we can see from here, or that has been confirmed by St. Louis management?
I think you're definitely looking at a team that is looking for some more balanced scoring. I think you could see at the end of the year, they were pretty top heavy with that line when they shot off and took off with Robert Thomas, Dylan Holloway, and Jimmy Snuggerud. You're going to be able to count on that trio moving forward. And, Jim Montgomery is definitely going to give that line some rope and some leeway when next season starts. But when you're looking behind that, what do you have? Well, you would like to think if you have a Jordan Kyrou on your team, he's going to be somebody that's going to supply some of that secondary scoring in the top six. A Dalibor Dvorsky, what kind of a step is he going to take? But I just don't know if they feel like they have enough of that right now. You're right. No teams are ever short on defense, but I think that's an area that the Blues are definitely going to be looking at. And I think certainly goaltending is something that's going to be needed to be answered here with the situation with Joel Hofer and Jordan Binnington as well.
And it's the Blues are, we have a tendency to bin teams where, you're in the championship window, you're in rebuild mode. My perception is partly due to the offer sheets that worked out extremely well from the Blues end. I think this is a team that is a lot closer than maybe they would have been without doing that. And they have some young up and coming players. And quite honestly, a lot of the players that they have that are already counting on aren't that old. It's not a team with a bunch of 35-year-olds. So from the point of view of what management might be looking for, this is a team that would make a trade of a Kyrou per se, but they'd want immediate help as opposed to draft picks, or am I wrong there?
It depends on what you're going to get. With the Blues going into this year's draft, they have 3 number 1 picks, so they have lots of options as far as that is concerned. They don't have a second round pick, but you're right. Doug Armstrong has readily admitted that I don't want to say that he's hit a home run yet, but he's certainly gotten some good results out of the offer sheets for Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway. That certainly has accelerated not what they were going to call a rebuild, because they've never used the word rebuild. They've always either gone into talked about retooling and going back at it again. And by what they did last year when they took Winnipeg to 7 games and ultimately felt like they should have won that series, they feel like they're, like you said, they're further along than what maybe somebody would anticipate. So Doug Armstrong's not afraid to make what he would call an apples for apples trade. And those are usually in his estimation are made during the off season. So I would tend to lean more on that they're going to look for that apples for apples type of a trade. So they're going to want to get something in return that's got some experience, but probably in that 25-year-old range. They're looking to get younger. They obviously traded away Braden Shen and traded away Justin Falk. These are guys that are, in their early to mid 30s that they have moved on from. So they're trying to get younger, but they're trying to get younger with guys that do have some NHL experience and are up and coming.
Our guest is Lou Korak, covering the St. Louis Blues for NHL.com and site editor at the Hockey News. Wanted to ask you if you could, in your capacity with the Hockey News and NHL.com, to comment a little bit about the passing of Claude Lemieux, who began his NHL career when the Whalers were still in Hartford, I believe, had a long and storied career, many Stanley Cups, and at 60, a little bit shocking that we find out today that Claude Lemieux has passed.
So tragic. I was just stunned when I saw the news come out, and he was the torchbearer a few days ago, which makes it even more astounding and shocking that he is all of a sudden gone. I know, just from dealing with him in past experiences here, and obviously growing up and watching as a player, what a warrior. I mean, especially a playoff player. I mean, the consummate pro and somebody that's just from experience, he was Oscar Sundqvist. And listen, I hate to use the word was, but here we are. He was Oscar Sundqvist's agent and also a prospect for the Blues, currently Simon Robertson playing in the NHL. So I've had a little bit of dealings with him there. Always just a true gentleman, but man, what a playoff performer that guy was, and just the consummate pro, the ultimate professional, and moved on into this part of his career. And any players that have come through St. Louis that he has represented have spoken quite highly of him. Just quite tragic and just shocking to hear that news come out today.
Very true. It's 12:53, Lowdown with Lowetide. We're with Lou Korak. And I wanted to ask you as well, just as to end the conversation, the NHL salary cap has gone up quite a lot, and $104 million. And there's a lot of money out there, but we are hearing that some teams may not, spend to the cap because they're in a different, cycle and maybe they ordinarily would spend to the cap, but they're rebuilding and building. Are we reaching a point, because the National Hockey League is a wildly popular league? However, ticket prices can only be raised so many times. Are we at a point where the outer marker might be reached simply because the ticket prices can't go up anymore?
I think so, because I can just give you a perspective from St. Louis's side, and Doug Armstrong, and obviously he's going out here July 1st. Alex Steen is coming in as the GM, but he has always had the luxury of spending to the cap, and he has always been grateful to the Tom Stillman ownership group for allowing them to spend to the cap. But he has mentioned to us a number of times, and moving forward, just because the cap is going up now in these last couple of years, talking about this, doesn't mean that the St. Louis Blues are going to be a team that's going to push to the upper limits. I think you're probably going to see that with more of the major markets, and not so much St. Louis is viewed, and certainly is one of those mid-tiered markets, and that's partly the reason why. I think, honestly, with the popularity and how much the Blues are loved here, I think they're a team that can get away with something like that and pushing to the limits. But there's just certain franchises that can't get to that marker because they just simply don't have the bodies in the seats all the time. And I think that has a lot to do with it. And you're right, with the way things are going, yeah, you can only push ticket prices up so much. St. Louis has been fortunate enough where they've got such a loyal fan base, they're willing to do whatever is necessary. But how many times can you push that button? And I think that's where Doug Armstrong comes across and says, I don't think we want to be pushing to those limits, because that not only is that not fair for me to go to ownership to continue to push the bar higher and higher, but also our fan base as well.
Thanks so much for this, Lou. Really appreciate it. Have a great day.
Absolutely. Take care.
There you go. Lou Korak covers the St. Louis Blues for NHL.com and for the Hockey News as well. Yeah, the Lemieux story is just, resonating across the hockey world, as you would imagine. Also today, big news on Evan Bouchard, concussed at the World Hockey Championships, and some interesting items surrounding the Bruce Cassidy situation with Vegas Golden Knights and getting approval on interviewing with more than one team, including the Edmonton Oilers and the Los Angeles Kings. So that's all on the way. Bagged Milk will join us at 1 o'clock from Oilers Nation. We'll talk about those stories and more. And we have Donovan Nations and much of your impact or input on what we've talked about already on the show today. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. It's time for an update with Donovan.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
This Sports 1440 update is brought to you by Sean Cunningham of Remax Real Estate. Get the home team advantage for your next move in the Edmonton area. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, call or text Sean directly at 780-265-0165. In case you missed it this morning, we just touched on it, but four-time Stanley Cup champ Claude Lemieux has passed away at the age of 60. Memorial Cup action, Chicoutimi against Everett on the hard court. The Spurs looking to stay alive in Game 6 as they host the OKC Thunder. It's a light day in the majors. The Jays, they're opening their series in Baltimore against the Orioles. Patrick Corbin gets the start for Toronto, and it's Chris Bassett, the former Jay, getting the start for the O's. Currently underway in the majors. The Angels up 3-1 on the Tigers. The White Sox hold a 1-0 lead against the Twins. Getting underway in a couple hours' time, it's Red Sox hosting the Braves. You got Cubs in Pittsburgh to battle the Pirates, and the Battle of Houston, of Texas, as the Rangers clash with the Astros. Coming up right after the break, we've got Oilers Nation's Bagged Milk. I'm Donovan Paulson. That is your Sports 1440 update.
JR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray Music app and listen wherever you go.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique family-owned independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com. Do you have neck or back pain? Ever go for treatment hoping for a simple fix only to realize your stubborn spine is basically a science project with attitude? Hey, we get it. And honestly, we're a little sorry because great rehab does take proper experimenting. But at Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we don't just toss exercises into the beaker and hope it doesn't explode. We start with the right diagnosis, then mix hands-on care, precise manual therapy, and evidence-based technology. The formula your body actually needs. Science and skill with gratitude, not attitude. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
When your project can't afford downtime, call Japa Equipment Rentals. From excavators and wheel loaders to compaction equipment, Japa has the machines you need. Trusted since 1972. Visit JapaEquipment.com or stop our Edmonton or Calgary locations.
Say hello to your new favorite drinks. Introducing new McCafe Refreshers. Icy cool, undeniably refreshing, and available in 3 flavors. Strawberry watermelon, mango pineapple, and blackberry passion fruit. Only at McDonald's.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
May brings more of what you're looking for at Wolf GMC Buick. The selection, never better. The savings up to $12,000 when you combine cash discounts on your new 2026 Sierra 1500 pickup. Up to $1,750 in cash rebates on remaining 2025 Terrain SUVs. Plus 0% financing up to 72 months on most models. And ask about the truck trade-in bonus of up to $1,500 on select new in-stock Sierra 1500s.
Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
It doesn't start on game day. It starts before kickoff, before the first snap. It starts with you locking in your season seats. This is Edmonton Elks football. The only way to experience it is being there for every hit, catch, and touchdown. The Elks home opener kicks off June 20th against Montreal. Your season seats are your way in. Get yours now at goelks.com/season seats. Edmonton Elks. Our city, our year.
For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Ariat, Justin, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the 2 best names in the boots business.
Everybody loves a beautiful day in Edmonton. Hey, it's Jamie, and Green Drop Lawn Care is giving you one more reason to love the nice weather. Next nice day service. People always ask, how soon can Green Drop get here? Well, when you sign up with Next Nice Day service, we'll be there by tomorrow. Assuming Mother Nature cooperates, we'll be fertilizing and treating your weeds by the very next day. We'll even include Drought Fighter at no additional cost. Just another reason we have been Canada's lawn expert since 1979. Easy online signups only at greendrop.com.
Breaking down the fine art of sports, one rep at a time. The Lowdown with Lowetide. Thanks for checking out Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440, a little after 1 o'clock. We're brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Huge May savings on new 2026 Sierra 1500 pickups and all remaining 2025 Terrain SUVs. WolfGMCBuick.com. Another great song by you. You really got the summer taken care of there, Donovan. You're doing great.
Oh, I know my pump up songs and I know my summer songs. Those are 2 things I do. I'd like to think I do pretty well.
Well, there you go. And I know you love country. The Edmonton Oilers have announced a number of hockey operations promotions, including Michael Parkatti to Vice President, Analytics and Technology, plus former Oil Kings President and GM Kurt Hill to Assistant GM of Player Procurement. So the Oilers are active, and these are behind the scenes kinds of moves. But I'm just going to list them all, and then we're going to get right to our big interview with Bagged Milk. And I apologize for the delay to Mr. Milk. Parkati to Vice President, Analytics and Technology. We mentioned Kurt Hill. Callie Larson, Assistant GM, Player Development and Innovation. Toby Salmalainen, Assistant GM, European Operations. Andreas Carlson, Director of Player Development. Justin Mahe, Director of Hockey Operations and Player Experience. Michael Chan, President, GM of WHL Alternate Governor of the Edmonton Oil Kings. And Jamie Jackson is the Director of Scouting for the Edmonton Oil Kings. That's a lot and a lot to get through, but we give you the names and then we'll digest it and converse about it as the hour goes along. It is time for our headliner of the day, brought to you by Faber. Cash Flow Crunch got your business on the sidelines. Schedule your free consultation with Faber's licensed insolvency trustees and get back in the game. Visit Faber, FABER.ca. Joined now by Bagged Milk from Oilers Nation. You must feel like I'm, rambling on and singing an anthem before we get to you, but thanks for joining us.
Actually, you know what? I was just on some calls and stuff before I jumped on with you, Al, so I hadn't even seen this announcement from the Oilers that just went out. So I was listening with you. I love seeing Michael Parkati moving on up to vice president. That's exciting from the analytics side. So, yeah, they're starting to check off some things off the to-do list. I like that. There's no cap on management and scouting and all this stuff. So spend, OEG.
Yeah, and Parkati is so smart. He's just wicked smart. When you talk to Parkati, and I haven't in years, but when you talk to Parkati, you realize how much you don't know. And it doesn't matter where you're talking economics or hockey. He's a brilliant guy. And I sort of knew that Callie Larson was going to get a bump because that was kind of out there as a rumor. But it looks like they've done some significant things here. Looks like the European side of it, they've had some success in signing guys like Josh Szymanski and others. Looks like that got a little pump too.
Yeah. I think that it's nice to see the Oilers getting some of this stuff done. I know these aren't the sexiest moves or, shuffling or hiring or whatever you want to call it, but they're ultimately important and making sure the infrastructure that's powering the back end as we go into the draft and into free agency, that's important. So I like to see them getting this stuff checked off the list. Very true.
Now, the Oilers as an organization have to deal with injury today, unusual at this time of year when you're not in the playoffs. But Evan Bouchard took a hellacious, I think, over the line hit for sure, and looked at concussed before he hit the ice. And the usual awfulness happened afterwards. We don't know about his health. We do know that it would be, impossible to come out of that without having a concussion. And there was a little worry that he had one a month ago when he's playing in the NHL playoffs. This is big news for the Oilers on the injury front, even after the season ends.
Yeah, and it was just such needless hit, a really high hit. It's one of those exact ones that I know this isn't an NHL tournament, but that hockey is trying to get rid of. And, to see the effects of it and having to get helped off the ice, that is the last thing you want to see for a player, any player. It doesn't matter if it's an Edmonton Oiler or not. And the fact that Bouchard was having a really good tournament gets completely derailed by just what I think is, a dirty hit. So all thoughts and prayers going out to Evan Bouchard. That was a tough one to watch first thing this morning.
Yeah, absolutely was. And we'll keep everybody updated. Jason will have comments and the latest on his show coming up starting at 2:00 today. Also in the news, and it does impact the Oilers, even though it's a Vegas Golden Knights story. Bruce Cassidy went on Spittin' Chicklets and talked a little bit about frustration. And he's a coach and he wants to coach. And previous to this, the Golden Knights have had a media avail and talked about the situation and said that he understands. Obviously, a gap between understanding it and liking it, and we got that today. Do you think that puts any added pressure on Vegas Golden Knights management, or they're just going to play it out as they wish?
I would have to imagine Bruce Cassidy has told them all these things in private before going on Spittin' Chicklets and then kind of being quite honest and candid with the boys over there. So I would imagine they already know his feelings. Will it turn up any pressure? I don't know that they care. I think that Vegas has really embraced their, to borrow from wrestling, their heel place in the NHL. And I think they embrace it. And Kelly McCrimmon saying that they didn't want to cause a distraction during the playoffs, even though they're causing distractions by Torts not speaking to the media and losing a pick and all that thing. I just don't think they care all that much. And I think that because the two teams rumored to want to speak to Bruce Cassidy are both divisional rivals, I just think they're going to drag their feet, and it's unfortunate for the Oilers. And I think they're at a stalemate here. Who's going to wait longer? And if you're the Oilers, I don't know that it won't be Vegas that does.
Yeah, it's interesting because you're I think you would have to commit to going after the draft and maybe into free agency, and I don't know that the Oilers would be, but it's an interesting talking point anyway, and we'll follow that story as well. As far as the Oilers are concerned, there's I don't know how much you pay attention to rumors, but it feels as though the rumor mill has Darnell Nurse at least in play for a trade. The conversation, and it leads me to believe that at some point in time they may have talked to Nurse, maybe not, about the idea that if a trade opportunity comes up, we may come to you and ask you to waive. Where do you think the Oilers are with that, and do you think it's realistic or unrealistic to talk about a Nurse trade this summer?
I don't think it's unrealistic to talk about a trade. I think that for Darnell Nurse, this past season did not necessarily go his way. He had some stretches where he looked all right, but then he had some stretches where he didn't look like Darnell Nurse. And I think that opened up the door to have this trade conversation. But ultimately, he's in a position where he's got a full no-move clause, and he's still got the $9.25 million contract. So he still holds all the cards. It's really up to him if he wants to go anywhere or not. And then assuming he does, I imagine the list of teams that he would be happy to go to would be quite short. And then would any of those teams have the capacity or be willing to make that trade? Would the Oilers have to hold money, which chances are they might at that ticket? So it's a tricky move. I don't think it's as easy as some of the fans say, where it's just like, oh, well, I'm not happy with how Darnell Nurse played in 2025-26, so he has to go. I just don't think it's that simple. He's in full control ultimately, and even if he agreed, I don't know that there are many options where the Oilers could get a realistic return for him, even though I know they want the cap space. But chances are, if a trade does happen, I would caution maybe that the fan base, you'd be a little bit quiet. I think we just saw, or a little bit patient with it, because I think we just saw not the same scale, but something similar when Stuart Skinner got moved. And, I think the lesson from that one, at least to start, was that the grass isn't always greener on the other side of a trade.
I think we've reached a point, and it's been a while since we could do this before, free agency and the draft. But I think we've reached a point where we've looked at the draft, what might be available. We've looked at what, trades might come, a lot of talk about Jordan Kyrou, and a look at the goaltenders too. And it's Devin Levy. There's, Minnesota has a goalie we think is out there. Probably, Detroit, maybe Sebastian Cossa. I've always liked DiPietro out in Boston, who is a free agent, so maybe he would be the least expensive of the group. Have you settled on somebody or a group of players that you'd like to see at least considered by the Oilers when they come time to solve the net? And is Connor Ingram still on your list?
I think that Connor Ingram should absolutely be on the list. I think that outside of the way the playoffs ended, it's hard to argue that Connor Ingram didn't do everything that was asked of him by the organization. He started in Bakersfield. He made his way up, because of an injury, and then he ultimately took over the net in the back half of the playoffs. So if he's not in the conversation, I'd be very, very surprised. I'm super intrigued by the idea of Sebastian Cossa out of Detroit. I think they've got a lot of goalies. I think Steve Yzerman's been getting all the goalies over the last handful of years. So that was really intriguing to me, but it ultimately makes me nervous still because he's a young man. And this team doesn't really have time to let a goalie figure it out at the NHL level. So you would need Tristan Jarry to do a bunch of lifting there. But that one's super intriguing to me. Obviously, the goaltending out of Minnesota, heard those rumors as well. Some really strong goaltenders there. I don't know if that's actually possible that they get one. It would have been nice if they just drafted one years ago, but we won't talk about that today. So I think that, they have some options. Whether or not anything happens remains to be seen. But then the other angle is, how is this team going to defend in front of whoever that goalie is? And, because if it's anything like it was last year, I don't know that it would have mattered if Dominic Hasek in his prime was between the pipes. I don't know how much that would have mattered. So they got a lot of stuff to clean up. But the goaltending position is a conversation I just can't see going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, that's fair. We're sort of at the edge of news. I know the word is that the league doesn't like news to break during any series, so there might be a little bit of opportunity to have some news come out transaction wise between the end of the Carolina Montreal series and the start of the final. But that's remains to be seen. I'm come to the conclusion that Stan Bowman might be a little bit quieter than people are hoping or thinking. He's acquired a lot of players who are not yet established. I'll include Ike Howard in that, and certainly Trent Frederick, even Tristan Jarry have been acquired but haven't had an opportunity or haven't delivered the kind of play that Bowman would I think have thought they would based on when he acquired them. So what's your thought? I'm not going to ask you for a number, but if we're projecting now for opening night today, do you have a number in mind or a group of players or a position specifically in mind that you think will get upgraded? And how many new players do you think we'll see on the ice opening night?
I'm going to guess we're probably going to have 3 or 4 new bodies. I'm going to guess that, I saw the tweet from Bob Stauffer yesterday where he said, in his opinion, the Oilers need to go find a top 6 winger. I'd love that. Who knows how realistic it is? And maybe it ties into the Jordan Kyrou rumors we keep hearing about. Who knows? I don't know. But I think it'll be around 3-4 players. And I think that Stan Bowman is not necessarily going to go out and take some big swings. I think this year the mission will be to find better fits. And what I mean is, like last year, I myself included, I think a lot of us were excited about the Andrew Mangiapane signing, and it didn't work out because the fit wasn't right. If he wasn't in the top 6, then where does he go? So I could see him circling players like a Jason Dickinson. Now, we saw some rumors about what he might expect in free agency, and that might take the Oilers out of the running if it is over the $5 million that's been rumored. But I can see them trying to find a fit like that, a true shutdown centerman where if you have the opportunity to move Nuge down in the lineup, you could have a real checking line for the first time. And, they tried to do it this past season. Obviously, there were some injuries that kind of threw a wrench in the plans, but I would like to see them have a true checking line that could distribute the minutes a little bit more, take some of the load off Connor and Leon, get their minutes down by 2, 3, 4 minutes a night. I think that would be really beneficial. So I think he's going to be looking for specific fits. And, if a Darnell Nurse trade does come through, then maybe that gives him a little bit more optionality. Does that mean that, Connor Murphy is a guy that he would probably put more attention on, even though I imagine he's probably going to give Connor Murphy's agent a call, same with Jason Dickinson's. But I think his mission this year is going to be to find specific fits and guys he knows can excel in roles that the Oilers need, as opposed to hoping somebody can moonlight above or fight above their weight class or fit into something that isn't necessarily befitting of their style.
You make a great point there, Bagmilk from Oilers Nation joining us. And that is that people will say, well, Dickinson didn't do a lot. Well, he was hurt and the centers were all, having issues. So he was trying to play and then he did play, but the 100% wasn't even close to what he was able to do, during a frenzied and very brief playoff. So it's fair to say that Oilers fans haven't seen the best of Dickinson. And if they're going to use him, and I think there was a hint from both McDavid and Draisaitl playing less, and I take that to mean, if you had a shutdown third line and you were able to, take the own zone faceoffs, do much of the penalty killing, so McDavid and Draisaitl didn't need to be on that unit, that would free them a little bit at 5-on-5 on the power play, and that's optimizing your best players. Do you think that's kind of what they're thinking? Doesn't mean they'll get there, but kind of what they're thinking heading into the summer?
I hope so. I think that you're right. Both Connor and Leon mentioned distributing minutes in their own way. And I think that having a checking line that you can trust and that whoever the coach happens to be can throw them out against the other team's toughs. They can take those tough draws in their defensive zone. Let Connor and Leon live in the space where they're most successful. Not to say that they can't play on the defensive side. I think they both can, and they do. But I think if you had a true checking line where they're going to go out and give you some really quality minutes against the other team's best players, man, that would be just a real difference maker for this team. And I'm really, really hopeful that's part of the plan for the summer.
All right. Thanks for this. Enjoy the beautiful weather, sir.
It's wonderful outside. I'm enjoying the long days and, having some nights to myself. A little bit of stress-free hockey watching too, yeah. Al. That's not too bad.
I like it too. A little baseball thrown in between commercials and stuff like that. I like it too.
Absolutely. Jay's just starting to turn it on.
Love it. Love it. All right. Have a great one.
Thanks, Al.
There you go. Bagnell from Oilers Nation. Some really good points there. I like this point about the checking line. You guys don't remember checking lines, do you? No, you never saw them.
I remember checking. Yeah, I remember checking lines.
Okay. You're a little older than Josh is?
I'm a little older, not super
By like
super old.
13 months probably or something.
So he's a pensioner.
Yeah, I guess so.
Practically.
He's got, I have a weak back. He has a horrible back, like that's where we're at.
Well, you've both been carrying the show. So maybe
Yeah,
that's
well,
it.
It's tough when you're young, handsome, and smart.
Yeah. How many people in this room are that?
Well, I'm definitely young.
I'm definitely young and handsome.
All right.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right,
the smart
grandma.
part.
All right.
Well,
Someone's
just thankful
listening to his
Declan
grandma
isn't
for
here.
too long. All right. Like,
How's
the
Trout?
smart part.
How's Trout doing in this game?
how's
Trout.
Trouty.
Oh, I don't know actually.
I know that Neto had a stolen base taken back, and then Von Grissom, who Red Sox, Bo Sox. You notice how many former Bo Sox prospects are thriving in major leagues right now? The trade that they've made in the last little while, it's all biting them in the ass.
Mike Trout 1 for 2 with a run.
Okay.
No RBIs. Von Grissom 1 run, 2 RBI, 1 for 3.
Yeah, he knocked a double there.
Mhm.
And I think Neto's done something too, but
He's got an RBI.
Vaughn Grissom, by the way, Tide. I don't know if you've taken a peek at what he's actually done
no, I haven't at all.
this year. Nice game from him, but he's worth negative 0.2 WAR this year.
So that he fits right in with the Angels then.
Yes, he does. He
Yeah.
fits right in with the Angels model of former top prospects. We'll take you all,
Yep.
and we'll hope and pray to God that you find some level of consistency. Spoiler alert, it never works.
You want to talk about good pitchers versus bad pitchers? Look at the Angels bullpen. Soriano, everybody else.
Yeah, I know. Although Detmers has pitched well lately. Yeah.
But he's no Soriano, who at one point this year had a 13.70 ERA plus. No one forgets.
I think he got lit up in his last game, didn't he?
He did, yeah. But hey, you know what?
He's been great.
If Paul Skeens can get lit up twice, then I think Jose Soriano's allowed to get lit up once.
You make a fine point. All right. On the way, we've got a lot of your comments based on what we've talked about. Donovan Nations, have we settled on an item today?
We have our top 5 most hated athletes of all time.
Wow.
And this is a perfect one for the text line. Feel free, chime in with your most hated athletes. I think this is something we can all unite.
Well, the funny thing is, though, like in wrestling, I hated Torquemada, but I found out after I became an adult that he was my favorite because I hated him, but I only watched his matches. I was busy getting beat up by my brother the rest of the time.
You just love to hate.
I think so. There's a little bit of that in wrestling.
It's called hate watching.
There you go. All right, that's all on the way. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube. We're brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com. When thirst strikes and your energy begins to fade, one hero rises above the rest. Introducing the Superpower Smoothie from Booster Juice. A bright sun-charged burst of mangoes, bananas, and blue spirulina. An out-of-this-world smoothie, just in time for the new Supergirl movie. Discover your power and channel your inner superhero. Fly into your local Booster Juice and experience it for yourself today. And see Supergirl. Only in theaters June 26.
Expand your brand with Fusion Promo Marketing. Fusion is your trusted partner for all things branded merch and apparel. Thousands of products perfect for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
May brings more of what you're looking for at Wolf GMC Buick. The selection, never better. The savings up to $12,000 when you combine cash discounts on your new 2026 Sierra 1500 pickup. Up to $1,750 in cash rebates on remaining 2025 Terrain SUVs. Plus 0% financing up to 72 months on most models. And ask about the truck trade-in bonus of up to $1,500 on select new in-stock Sierra 1500s.
Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Dylan Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada. Properties include the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility in Nisku, features 2 sheets of ice, a 1,600-seat arena, as well as Summit Restaurant. Learn more at silentice.com.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Attention Alberta construction pros. For over 50 years, Japa Equipment Rentals has been your go-to for top-notch equipment and stellar service. Whether you need rentals or expert maintenance, we've got you covered. Stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations today.
Mr. Rooter gets attacked by a Canada goose.
Oh, look at that. Another on-time arrival. Nothing.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Author, musical connoisseur. Yes, a man for all seasons.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
And on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out at wolfgmcbuick.com. That's a unique song. Who does that song?
That is Some Nights by Font. That was a bit of a throwback song for. I assume you know that song, Josh.
Oh, I'm very familiar with.
How old is that
songs
song?
by Font? Oh, it's probably like 15, 16 years old, right around that 2010-ish range, right?
Yeah, it was right around 2010. So yeah, it's probably around 15 to 20 years, somewhere in that gap.
I like it. I like the vocal. Good song. Not that you needed me to endorse it. Obviously, it was a hit all by its lonesome, but it's a good song.
Hey, Fun's a great band. They have what's the Some nights, and what's the other one?
I'm totally blanking.
Man, it's a good one though.
It is. I know they have a couple really, really good songs.
Well,
that
these
were
guys really had an
awesome
impact on your
flashback
life.
for us.
Then, yeah.
Well, hey, you know what, Tide? Sometimes we can't remember all the songs.
Well, I'd never had that problem. I
know you
remember
do.
everything.
Sure, man. What's your producer's name?
Which one?
This one right here in the chair.
That's Donovan.
Oh,
I thought for sure
he
you were gonna
he
say
had to
that.
double take. He had to double take. For a
No,
second.
I know Donovan and I know Josh and I know Declan. But when I'm talking, sometimes I just blurt out something. When I'm looking at, Declan, I'll say Donovan, and it drives him crazy.
What's my Twitter handle?
Josh Fenwick 04.
Oh, wrong.
Jay Fenwick 04.
There you go.
All right.
So do we want to get into some text here, fellas?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so obviously lots of people very distraught about the Claude Lemieux news.
Yeah.
But to get into some more, happier texts or questionable questions texts, Mark asks, "Good afternoon, guys. Does the Bouchard situation not make a Riley for Nurse trade more necessary?"
No, I don't think Morgan Riley is going to age as well as Darnell Nurse.
I don't either. I think Morgan Riley's already started to fall off or has almost fallen off already.
Yeah. And people forget, like, Chris Russell was a puck moving defenseman before he wasn't. And he adapted as well as he could, but he was an undersized defensive defenseman and he did well, really well. But that's a hard thing to do. And Riley's like, I don't know that he can make that adjustment. And offensively, I don't know that he's not going to play the power play when Bouchard's here.
Mm-mm.
So I don't think I've never ever felt that trade made sense.
I've never felt that way either. I looked at Morgan Riley, and this is how I viewed him for the majority of his career. He is a power play one style defenseman who isn't fully capable of playing power play one.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think that if you're looking for a big shot, Wallman has a really good one.
Like, to me, man, if you don't like Evan Bouchard, you're gonna hate Morgan Riley. Like, that's just the reality. To me, the guy is a pretty poor defender.
Well, and also the big trouble Toronto had last year was they couldn't get the puck to the great forwards. And who's doing that, right?
Well, but a lot of that came from they had basically, I think they used 11 defensemen last year.
Yeah, they had a lot.
Like they
Stetcher
couldn't
might
stay
have been
healthy.
the best one. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and that speaks volumes to where Morgan Riley's at this point in his career. He's only 32, and to me, he's Tyson Barrie 2.0. He's 2 years, like, he's got 2 years more in the league for me, and then it's buyout, and then his career's probably over.
I don't disagree with that. I mean, I know that might sound harsh, but I think that's fair. I don't see him. Nurse is still a great skater. He's healthy. He has great recovery ability. Like, he just does. Nurse could play 30 minutes at, like, the first game of the season. You can't just treat that like it's nothing, because it's something.
No, and we should at least acknowledge that Morgan Riley's been a 20-minute a night defenseman for the entirety of his NHL career, pretty much. But at this point, there's a clear gap between these players in my eyes, in terms of, like, so what this team's going to need to focus on next season is their defensive play, right? And despite all the questionable decisions that Darnell Nurse might make, despite some of the flaws in his game, these are only going to be amplified with Morgan Riley. Like, Nurse isn't... The thing that annoys me about Darnell Nurse personally is you see this big body, you see a guy who can be super physical, and then really hasn't been physical at all over the last couple of seasons. And I feel he's playing the best when he's most physically engaged. And, I mean, Morgan Riley's not a physical player. Morgan Riley's not a great defender. Morgan Riley, I don't want to pick the guy apart, but, like, he's
not
a
as fast as he was.
He's a power play one type of defenseman. He's offense first, and everything else kind of goes in line after. But, like, this is just worse Tyson Barrie to me.
Dave from Stoney says, what do you guys think about getting Evander Kane for $1 million, letting him go nuts on the fourth line? I think they already have that in young Doc, who I thought played very well. And I don't know what Evander Kane's relationship is with the Oilers or any other NHL team, but it feels like, he's a one and done pretty much everywhere he goes now. And I don't know why, but I think Doc is a younger guy and probably will be healthy, more healthy than Kane. My suspicion is they'll go with Doc at that position.
Evander Kane, to me, this is going to be very telling. His free agency to me, because there are so many people that, you've heard the reports about his quality of character, and you're going to see this offseason what the actual quality of character is. If he gets signed right away, you're going to see some teams that believe in the player and think that they can get the most out of him. I don't think there's enough left in that player to justify the we'll call it concerns from the off the ice.
He's 37 years old. Like, he did not have a good year in Vancouver, and he's 37 years old.
Yeah.
I think his career's over.
I think it is too.
He'll get an invite.
He'll get an invite for sure. I think he does get one more contract, but I think this is a one and done type of year where this is the last chance Texaco, and
that Maroon injury really hurt him.
Derailed his career for sure.
Juice says, does a Michael Parkati promotion mean that Stan Bowman is finally going to listen to the guy? Well, I'll tell you, honest to God, Parkati worked with the Oilers before, and then Dello worked with the Oilers, and now Parkati again. And I look hard and long and hard on the analytics. I don't say this is an analytics one, but I say this might be, right? Like, this could be an analytics acquisition. Like, I think Podkolzin could have been. I think Emberson could have been. But I also understand that you could go, well, you're just cherry picking. Well, I think that honestly, I think Andres Sekera was an analytics recommendation. I don't have any proof of it, but they had Dello there at the time, and it felt like it was. And since Parkati has gotten there, I will say that at the top end, the Oilers are still making mistakes that you would make if you didn't listen to analytics. But at the other end, some of the smaller moves they've made have been just like perfect for an analytics recommendation. I think Szymanski would have been. I think that Marhala would have been. I think these college kids they're signing, like Carfagna and Hudson. So I think you're seeing it, or I think you could make the case that you're seeing it, but not at the top end. I don't think Frederick would have been a strong one. Maybe I'm wrong. And maybe I'm just picking all the bad ones and saying, analytics didn't have anything to do with it. But I am encouraged by today's news that he is moving up. By the way, Trout hit a double.
I'll be honest. I think the Oilers have made a lot of their moves have been analytically based. I mean, look at Victor Arvidsson. That was an analytical darling.
Yeah, it didn't work out.
Didn't work out at all. Andrew Mangiapane had some pretty strong analytics.
Well, Arvidsson was hurt. It worked out the year he left, though. But he played well for Boston.
Well, he was great for Boston, but he just couldn't fit here. That was an analytical. I think that was an analytical sign. I'll be honest.
Do we have a cinematic Moneyball situation going on with the Edmonton Oilers, where this is the movie portrayal of Art Howe not being in on the analytics thing? Chris Knobloch was like, "Screw your analytics. We're doing it my way." And Stan Bowman and Ken Holland were like, please listen to our analytics.
I don't know. Like, I can't get a read on Bowman, whether he's got 1 foot in the new world and 1 foot in the old world, or they're both in the old world. I don't know. I have a hard time. Bowman is to me, he's a little bit vanilla.
Ooh, that's a great descriptor.
I think that is. Yeah.
And so I don't mean to be like unfair to him. I want to be fair to him. I don't see him. Like, he's been here since 2024 August, and I still don't think this is like materially his team.
I know exactly the feeling
fair.
that you're coming from. It's like obviously he trades for Tristan Jarry and his fingerprints are all over that, but he also traded for
Podkolzin.
Yeah, like there's some good stuff, but like you're not like, oh man, like Stan Bowman built a good one. You're just sort of like, well, Stan Bowman's the guy in charge.
Yeah. Well, and maybe I was spoiled because when Glenn Sather made a trade, it was like, a roll of tape some binder twine and a bus that doesn't run, and you'd get a third line center like McTavish.
Oh, well.
And so I came to believe that he was magic, and I don't think they've had magic here for a long
The salary cap really throws a wrench into that whole thing.
You're right. It's not fair to compare the two, even though I do every single day. All right. Are you two clowns ready for the Donovanations? What are you doing again?
Our top 5 most hated
Athletes?
Athletes.
So I can't pick Sam Pollock?
You could pick Sam Pollock. I don't care.
All right. No, I'll go with athletes.
I will be. I'm also including, I guess now WWE people in there now, because there's a certain person that deserves a spot.
Interesting.
And I hate him.
Wow.
I wonder who that is. I'm actually genuinely curious.
All right. Well, we'll find out as soon as I take a break. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube. We're brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
I'm good to go. With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. MortgagesToGo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly, guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say,
The Brick is thrilled to introduce the new exclusive Shaquille O'Neal home lineup of furniture. Each piece features premium Shacopedic memory foam for exceptional comfort, made to be lived in and loved for years. Each piece is built on a strong hardwood frame, offering sturdy comfort day after day. Head to any Brick location and snap a photo with Shaquille O'Neal. A life-size Shaq is waiting in store. Scan the QR code and upload your pic for a chance to win one of 4 Shaquille O'Neal home pieces exclusively at The Brick, saving you more.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Shake off winter and roll into spring. It's time to turn the season with Jiffy Lube. Until May 31st, visit any participating Jiffy Lube for a Pennzoil full synthetic oil change, and you could win some incredible prizes, like the grand prize spring kit featuring 2 Yeti mugs, wiper blades with install, gift cards, and more. You could even roll away with one of Jiffy Lube's Keeping You Moving mini prizes. Turn the season with Jiffy Lube and win. Visit jiffylubeservice.ca today.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Author, musical connoisseur, sports know-it-all. Yes, a man for all seasons.
Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's 1:41. This is the Lowdown on Wolf, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Huge May savings at WolfGMCBuick.com. We're about 18 minutes away from the Jason Gregor Show. We'll obviously be talking about Evan Bouchard, the situation with Bruce Cassidy, and of course the Lemieux passing, and more coming up. It is time for Donovanations, brought to you by Fairway Divorce Solutions, the clear road to a new life. There is a better way, fairwaydivorce.com. And I believe, Donovan, you start things off.
Yes, sir. I will be starting the festivities with the top 5 most hated athletes for us. Personally, I'm going to give my number 5 is Conor McGregor. I know the Listeners who have some form of Celtic heritage will probably hate this answer from me, but you're going to notice a large theme here. These are largely like off the field, off the ice, off the ring, whatever you want to say. These are all guys who I view as the guys who act up and the guys who just I hate their antics. So for me, like Conor McGregor, that whole chair incident, the bus, like there's just been so many instances of Conor McGregor showing himself to be an immature goofball that I've hated him his entire career. The fact that he's making this comeback again, I'm so over him. I've been over him his entire career. I can't stand the guy, and that's just off the ring antics, ridiculous.
Comeback number 4 for Conor McGregor.
Oh, it's so stupid. Like, just retire.
Yeah,
go away. Nobody cares about you.
It's okay to be done. My first pick is for the people. My number 5 is actually 3 people because it's 3 different generations. The Duke bullies, Christian Laettner, JJ Redick,
well done,
and Grayson Allen.
That
is a pick for the people. I hold no ill will against Grayson Allen or JJ Redick. I obviously did not see Christian Laettner play. However, if we're just saying hated athletes, if I was alive at the time, guess what? I probably would have hated them.
It's just impossible.
3 generations of Duke bullies. I think JJ Redick probably got the worst of it out of all of them. Like when you have people showing up courtside to your games wearing a shirt that says, I would name my kid JJ Redick on the front, and then on the back, the shirts say, so I could beat him every day, is absolutely sickening. But yeah, I think I would be remiss if I did not bring those 3 guys into it. Grayson Allen, also sort of a dirty player in the NBA. JJ Redick was sick, however.
Yeah, absolutely was. For me, Rick Monday, he ended the 1981 Expos glory hopes, and that was the closest they ever got. He hit a ball to the moon. It still supplies satellite to the city of Buffalo. He hit it so hard and so long. And
that's a great line.
Well, it just was awful. And I don't really hate him. He was a great player, but I hate that moment. And he ruined a wonderful, wonderful October.
My number 4, I don't know if you can call him an athlete, I guess, but he's more of an influencer. Logan Paul, I've hated him his entire career. This guy, just if you remember back to that, I know you'd remember it, Josh, but the stream from the forest, like, oh my God, that was so classless and so disgusting.
Why was he wearing a Gengar toque?
Yeah, like and this for those who don't know, it was like he
filmed a dead body in Japan.
Yes, the Japanese forest where people go to do stuff and eliminate themselves. That was just classless.
I feel like you probably could have worded that better.
I could have definitely worded that better, but I didn't want to be, too over the top with that. But Logan Paul, the guy, classless. I know he's started up his podcast and all this stuff, and he's tried to change his public image. But for me, once you do that, there ain't no coming back.
Sounds awful, by the way.
Scumbag.
Not a good dude. Not a good dude. My number 4, this is a pick for me. My displeasure with this player has been well documented, specifically over the last month and a half. James Harden, welcome to the list. Number 4. What a terrible playoff performer. It's very me oriented. All of the, I haven't been able to win here, so I'm going to request a trade here. I'm not winning here, so I'm going to request a trade there. And all these things. Not a fan. He's honestly like he's Dennis Rodman if he had more of a bag, Like he has his jersey retired in strip clubs all across Houston. He was wearing fat suits in Brooklyn so he could get traded, or maybe that was Philadelphia. I don't even remember. Like just an absolute, like everything's like I'm the best and I can't win because of everyone around me. And then you go out and you have 46 career playoff games with more turnovers than made field goals. Get a grip.
It's a great one.
My number 4 is Gary Suter, 1991 Canada Cup, drilling Gretzky into the boards. I forgive him for playing for the Calgary Flames, but that I do not forgive.
Okay. My number 3.
dare you?
Is an NHL player. Josh likes this player. Matthew Tkachuk.
You'd like him if he was on the Oilers.
I'd love him if he was on the Oilers, but he's on another team. He's on the Florida Panthers. He beat the Oilers 2 years in a row. He's also just when I think of guys like, and this is a lot. I hate him, but I respect the hell out of him.
That's
at
what
the same time.
my next guy is going to be the
Like
same way.
I every time I watch him, I'm like, man, I just want to see someone beat the pulp out of this guy. But at the same time, you have to appreciate how a guy is so able to get under everyone's skin. He is hated for a reason. And Matthew Tkachuk, my number 3.
Very nice. We're sticking in the basketball world for mine. 3 in a row. I know, but same team as James Harden. 2 different points in their career. Give me Kevin Durant.
Okay. All right.
As I know, like LeBron had the decision, and that really like started this whole super team thing all in all, but it didn't really seem like that much of a problem. The Lob City Clippers had their whole spiel just like with players they had drafted, and then they got Chris Paul. But for Kevin Durant to blow a 3-0 or 3-1 lead in the playoffs to the best regular season team of all time, and then the next offseason to say, yeah, I'm gonna go and play here. Classless, honestly. Win on your own, in my opinion. And then again, same deal as James Harden. Trade me day after day, year after year. Just not a lot of loyalty. And at this point, like he's a guy that thinks he's Kevin Durant from 9 years ago, but in reality, he's Kevin Durant now, who's just, I'll get you 25. And that's about it.
What number are we on?
3.
Okay. Mine is Ken Dryden, and I don't hate him. I never did, but he ruined my childhood along with Sam Pollock in 1971. He was brilliant. 6 games in the NHL regular season, and then he won the Conn Smythe the year before he won the Rookie of the Year award. He was brilliant and great, and I don't hate him, but I'm putting him on the list because that was, along with the Expos in 81, like the absolute low point of my entire time as a fan. And so it's Ken Dryden.
My number 2 is probably no surprise to none of you. Jeff Hoffman.
It's a surprise that he's number 2.
Jeff Hoffman.
Why Jeff Hoffman?
I wonder why. Maybe because he blew the World Series and had my single worst sporting moment of all time. That was, I'm still not over it. I will never forgive that guy. I know it's, you know what, like no disrespect to the guy as a whole, because you know what, he's had himself a relatively strong major league career outside of that incident as a reliever, and he was terrible last year for the Jays. Continued to be terrible for them this year. I am so done with Jeff Hoffman as a Toronto Blue Jay. I've never actually had this much hatred for a player that I'm actively watching every game.
All right then, buddy. Whatever you say. My number 2. Now, this is a weird one because I respect the hell out of him, and I never saw him play. But I don't even hate him for anything that he did in his sport. It all around seems like a good dude. However, rewatched Little Big League the other day. Randy Johnson comes in for the Seattle Mariners. The end of the movie, as in relief in like a bonus game they have to play for a tie to get in the wild card against the Minnesota Twins, managed by Billy, sweet little 12-year-old Billy, and he comes in to face Lou, gives him an absolute grace, like just a nice one. Crack. Honestly, it probably should be Ken Griffey Jr. But alas, I will never forgive the Seattle Mariners in the hit movie Little Big League for knocking out the Minnesota Twins, who just wanted to make the playoffs for Billy's dear old grandpa.
Gutless.
I know. How dare they?
Well, it was the script. My number 2 is Mike Keane, who was a Dallas Star in I can't remember if it was 1999 or 2000, I'll be honest. But the Oilers were like, the Oilers had a roster that was like 12 million and Dallas was like 100 million. And they were absolutely in it. They played their absolute hearts out. I loved that team. And after they lost, Keane, like you're supposed to shake hands, he said, "Go home." And I it's embedded in my brain. And I know I'm a person who doesn't forget, and I'm bitter, but that was no class. And so it's Mike Keane at my number 2.
My number 1, another guy who maybe it's a little bit of a stretch to call him an athlete, but he is a boxer now. It's Jake Paul. I feel
sucks.
He's just the worst. There are, if you search up Jake Paul scandals on Google, there's about 1 million of them, ranging from sexual assault allegations to racial slur stuff to COVID-19, having no mask parties, and that's on the light end of it. But there have been so many promoting a mysterious gambling brand thing. Like there are so many like crypto scam. Like there have been 1 million instances of this guy being just an absolute scumbag. And like he rightfully should be number 1. There is no one I hate more in the sports world than Jake Paul.
It's too bad you couldn't get more evidence on him, to make your case.
Literally, there's I
really too bad.
I Googled all his scandals again just to see what all of them were. And this thing isn't even probably half of them. And it's like a solid 12 bullet points.
There you go.
I'm going to rattle mine off really quick. Number 1, Garrett Cole. I absolutely hate Garrett Cole. It helps that he's a Yankee because I hate the Yankees.
Yeah.
But he is such a crybaby whiner. Remember when they really cracked down on all this substance stuff for pitchers? And he was talking to the media like, "Oh, but it's really hard for some of us sometimes." Dude, you're a Cy Young winner. I need you to buck up, okay? And stop crying to the media, and then stop blaming your poor pitching performances on not having taco or stacco or whatever it is. Anyways, yes, Garrett Cole. I hate Garrett Cole.
Oh, great one.
There you go. All right. Mine is Matthew Tkachuk and the Florida Panthers. Not for winning the Stanley Cup, but for the reportedly extreme verbal after the Stanley Cup, specifically about Connor McDavid. The National Hockey League Stanley Cup is the most contested trophy in the world, and yet we are able to watch that cup given out and sportsmanship reign afterward every year. And based on reports, that did not happen, and a line was crossed, and I think that's wrong. And so, once again, bitter me will say Matt Tkachuk and the Florida Panthers. Classless act,